Hello, and welcome to the Tuesday World Meditation. My name is Rosa, and tonight you join me from my home in Tunbridge, Kent, the south of England. This sacred time and space is devoted to our shared practice of entering stillness together and of giving together. Let us first surround and protect ourselves with the power, presence, grace, and love of God. Before we begin the meditation, I'd like to share a passage from the New Message, from the book, The Pure Religion, Chapter 4, God's Ancient Covenant with Humanity, as revealed by Marshall Dion Summers on September the 20th, 2011, in Boulder, Colorado. Throughout history, humanity has made covenants with God, often thinking that it is God's covenant that they are creating. These have varied according to the sacred covenant that God has always made. For human understanding can never encompass the divine awareness, and human ethics and human law can never mirror perfectly the divine awareness, for it is far too great and mysterious, extending far, far beyond the realm and the reach of the intellect. People want to have a concrete understanding, but God is mysterious, and what God has put within you to follow is mysterious. And while you are in the world, your greater life beyond the world is mysterious. Therefore, the mystery is a fundamental and essential part of your life, greater than you currently realize. It stands as the greater aspect of your reality. It represents your origin and your destiny beyond this world, the mystery of your relationships, the deeper inclinations, the mystery of the power of knowledge, the greater intelligence that the Creator has given to you, which is waiting to be discovered. While human ethics and covenants have varied and human understanding has evolved, God has created a sacred covenant with humanity. This covenant has not really changed, so it is not correct to say that it is new, though it may be new to your understanding. For the covenant was established long before this world existed, long before there was a human race, long before there was a human history. The covenant was established at the beginning of time, at the emergence of the separation, at the beginning of the physical universe. It is applicable not only to human beings, but to the billions and billions and billions of other races in the universe that are also part of creation. The covenant is so essential and so fundamental to your nature, your being, and your purpose in the world that it can be overlooked or missed. For people's creation of a covenant with God has to do with their circumstances, their temperament, their history, and how they perceive their future and their situation in life. But God's covenant is far beyond this, for it has to be true in countless situations, in countless different races, in countless different worlds, because the God of your world is also the God of the greater community of life in the universe. The sacred covenant is fundamental to all life. It was not specifically created for humanity, for there are countless races in the universe. It was not aligned to one specific religion or religious understanding, for there are countless religions in the universe. That is why God's new revelation is so very new, because it takes you beyond the boundaries of this one world, opening you to the panorama of life in countless forms, because who you are and where you have come from accounts for all of creation, not simply one little aspect of it. The covenant, then, is not a covenant with one people, or one nation, or one period of history, or one religion, or one part of the world. It is not tied to human philosophy, ethics, or understanding. It is more fundamental than this. It must hold true in all dimensions for all races of beings who are living in separation in the physical reality. The covenant, then, in one sense, is very simple, but to live it and to live according to it requires great care. It requires real self-honesty. It requires a deeper discernment and a careful consideration of one's life and the lives of others. The solution to the separation was given at the beginning of time. It is not a problem for God. It is your problem. It is your dilemma as to what voice within you will follow, and your desire and capacity to experience a greater and expanding truth and reality. People want simple definitions. They do not want to have to work very hard. They want everything laid out for them because they are lazy and do not realize that they have to produce real effort and consideration and discernment to recognize that which is fundamental to their nature and purpose here. The miracle of the covenant, God's sacred covenant, is that each person's purpose and destiny emanates from it. So while it is uniform and consistent throughout the universe, its manifestations are beyond count and comprehension. It is like life abundant, flowing from the same fundamental soil and reality. This certainly is beyond human comprehension, but it is not beyond human experience. You experience the covenant every time you engage with the deeper intelligence that God has created within you, which represents the part of you that has never left God and is still living according to God's covenant. So you may ask, what is this covenant? Explain it to me. And we say, God has put knowledge within you, a perfect guiding intelligence. God has given you a deeper conscience, which is part of this deeper intelligence. God has sent you into the world to serve in a unique capacity in certain situations, engaging with certain individuals in certain circumstances. At this moment, you do not fully understand what all this means, or what is required, or where it will all take place. It is only at the end of life, looking backwards, that you can see whether you have made this primary engagement in the world or not. That the primary engagement in the world is based on the deeper engagement with knowledge within yourself, an intelligence that exists beyond the realm of your intellect, beneath the surface of the mind. You are here to serve the world and to overcome your conflicts your dilemmas, and to a certain extent, the dilemmas of your culture and existence in this particular world. Knowledge enables you to do this because it is part of creation. So it is not correct to say that God is telling me this, or God is telling me that, or I am going here because God wants me to go here, or I am doing this because God wants me to do this, or I should choose this over that because God wants me to. It is more accurate to say that you are doing these things or basing these decisions upon the guidance and presence of knowledge within yourself. Knowledge then interprets the will and the presence of God and is able to translate that into decisions and actions and the awareness of things to avoid and things to approach, things to consider and things that you should not consider. How this functions is entirely beyond human speculation because it exists beyond the surface of the mind that you think with, the worldly mind, the mind that is informed by your culture and your education, your temperament, and your circumstances. To gain a greater freedom in life is to follow the power of knowledge, because this liberates you in a practical and meaningful way from many of the constraints of life in the world, the problems of relationships, and the dilemmas and seemingly irresolvable difficulties that life in the world and in all worlds produces. You are also in the world to develop wisdom and to learn wisdom from others, the wisdom that is compassionate and gracious, but that is very sharp and clear, powerful and effective. You were born with knowledge, but not with wisdom. And to live successfully in this world or any world, you will need to garner wisdom that is relative to that world, to your world. God's new revelation provides wisdom from the greater community, beyond what humanity has ever had to establish for itself. A marvelous and rare gift this is, to prepare you for your future in the greater community, which is now upon you, to prepare you to engage with intelligent life in the universe, which is already upon you, exhibiting itself in dangerous and hazardous ways in the world today. Your fundamental responsibility to God is to take steps to knowledge, to learn to follow knowledge and to discern knowledge from the other voices in your mind, to listen to knowledge in others, to search for it among all the opinions, attitudes, and beliefs of people around you. Your fundamental responsibility is to have knowledge reshape your life, which represents a deeper honesty within yourself. This is what it means to be true to yourself, not to your ideas or beliefs or preferences, not to your attitudes or cultural position, but to your deeper nature, which is represented by knowledge and the emphasis of knowledge within you. God saves the separated through knowledge. God redeems the separated through knowledge, not just human beings, but countless other races that are so very different from you, different in environment, different in belief, different in history, different in ethics, attitudes, and associations. Only the genius of the Creator would have such a comprehensive plan for redemption. Please join me now in a 30-minute stillness practice. Take whatever time you need to read your own step and enter stillness when you are ready. Nasina Varikaram. While we are in this place of stillness, I'd like to share a passage from the New Message, speaking about the messenger. It is from the Revelation, the Message and the Messenger, as revealed to Marshall V. N. Summers on January the 26th, 2008, in Estes Park, Colorado. It is important in understanding the nature of the new revelation that it was given to someone who was sent into the world for the purpose of receiving it. He is a man. He is not perfect. He is not magnificent according to people's expectations, but he is the one destined to receive the new message, and his life has been orchestrated to make this possible. He has been guided to prepare for this for a very long time without really knowing what it was for. And he had to prove himself without realizing that he was providing himself for something very significant. He had to pass tests without knowing the nature of those tests or the meaning of success and failure. Born into a conventional family, educated at the university, he showed few signs of the greatness of his future life. However, the restraint he felt from committing himself to any kind of specialized career, the restraint he had to exercise regarding his relationships with others, and his commitment to things in the world, was with him from the start. His journey is inexplicable to anyone living in the world, for living in the world is only a partial experience of your complete reality. No matter how thorough your explanation or your theory might be, it will be by definition incomplete. Marshall was given certain tasks to cultivate: inner listening, discernment of others, an understanding of human nature, human relationships, and a direct experience of the natural world. He was allowed to make mistakes and to experiment as a young man. He was able to experience the condition of humanity and taste the pleasures and sorrows of a more affluent life. His relationships helped him to learn how to be with other people effectively, to partner with other people, to live with other people. But he was kept from becoming a completely worldly person, a person whose whole focus and emphasis is on achievement within the world. For this, he experienced restraint, was offered opportunities which he had to decline, given encouragement which he could not accept, experiencing inducements that he had to deny. He made mistakes, oh yes, but none that would cost him his preparation for his future life. His imperfections are acknowledged. He recognizes them. His role does not require him to meet the expectations of others who think that if there was a new message from God, it would be delivered by some kind of super person, a superman or a superwoman, someone who is without flaw, someone who is magnificent and can perform miracles. These kinds of expectations are inherent in human perception, for people do not understand the nature and purpose and plan of God. Even the scriptures themselves cannot reveal this fully. So Marshall had to travel as a young man, living without definition in the context of society. He had to maintain a focus on developing certain kinds of qualities: the quality of observation, the quality of evaluation and compassion for others, even concerning very grievous situations. But at the same time, he was kept out of war and conflict. He was kept out of marriage and parenthood. He was kept out of career, his goals always being moderated by the presence of knowledge, the deeper intelligence within him. Patience, perseverance, self-confidence, humility, compassion, friendliness, but reserved. These are the qualities that he had to cultivate way before he could have any sense of his greater purpose and calling in the world. It is true that the message must be given to one person to maintain its purity, and this person must be the right person, the one chosen. This person must have assistance and companionship. For this, Marshall was sent a woman of great strength and integrity to be his wife and companion. And he was given a son who would help him fulfill his great mission in the world. And others were sent to assist him, some staying with him only for a while, and others continuing with him even to this day. For the messenger cannot travel alone. The messenger must have assistance in receiving and bringing such a great teaching into the world. And his companions must be strong and courageous, flexible and unassuming. Their connection with Marshall must be deep, profound, and pre-established, you see. For he will not win people over with charm and charisma or intellectual brilliance. He will not captivate people by fulfilling their expectations of grandeur or power or strength. His power is in the new message and in his capacity to receive and to carry the new message and to be its first student and its primary representative. People's notions of power are so distorted, are so incorrect, that people look for the wrong things here. Grace and humility, perseverance, trustworthiness, patience, silence. These are the qualities of a powerful individual. Yet this is not what your cultures and your nations celebrate as demonstrating a real power or efficacy. Only the willful are so recognized. Only the adventurous, only the ambitious, only those who use force to gain what they claim for themselves. But that is not the power of grace. That is not the power that God emphasizes within the individual. And that is not the power of the messenger. Let us spend a few moments together to be with Marshall and send him our love and strength, our devotion and gratitude. Now see if there are others in the world or in your life who need to receive this strength as well. If so, spend a moment sending strength or another quality to these individuals. Let us now remember those loved ones who have gone ahead beyond the veil and give thanks for the life that they lived and the gifts that they gave. Nasina Barkara. Thank you all for coming.